no. Messed up the rocket switch. Oh my god.
Look at that.
Hey everyone, how's it going? So, today we're going to do a Warlock DPS build. It's basically like the new Starfire protocol. So, this is what I know to be one of the highest DPS options in the game at the moment. It's pretty complicated, but once you get it down, it's super satisfying and does a ton of damage. So, let's get into it. So, we're actually on Strand, and we're combining Strand with Necrotic Grips and the ability to reload your weapon, our rocket, when we throw our threadling grenade. That's the whole basis of the build. So, like I said, it's a little complicated. You can make it less complicated if you want to. You might just lack a little bit of damage instead of, using the whole build. But we'll go through all the options so you understand. So Weaver's Call and Mindspun Invocation, your aspects aren't really that important. Weaver's Call can get you a little bit more damage with the threadlings that you make from your rift if you want to pop it early before the phase, but otherwise it's not that important. What really matters is our fragments. So Thread of Evolution, threadlings travel farther and deal additional damage. We're going to be throwing our threadling grenade constantly, so this will make those threadlings do more damage. Thread of Generation, dealing damage generates grenade energy. So that's where the loop comes from in this whole build, is we want our threadling grenade so that we can throw it and reload our rocket with Thread of Ascent, and then we deal damage with other items to get our grenade back, and then shoot more rockets with our reloading grenade. So Evolution, Generation to get some grenade energy back while we're doing DPS, and then Thread of Ascent. Activating your grenade ability reloads your equipped weapon and grants bonus airborne effectiveness. That doesn't really matter. Handling is nice too. So, activating your grenade reloads your equipped weapon. We're going to use our rocket, and then we'll throw our grenade, which will reload our rocket, and then we'll shoot another rocket. It's kind of like Starfire DPS used to be, just kind of nerfed, but also not nerfed because this does a ton of damage still. And then Thread of Warding, you can kind of run whatever you want here. I just run this so that I can have some damage resistance during DPS phases, even though, you're going to be in a well most of the time anyway, so it's not a big deal. So that's what we want to run on our subclass. So that's what we have on our subclass, but our weapon choice is a little bit more open. You always want to have a rocket, and we're always going to want to have Wither Horde and a fusion rifle. But you can change up which rockets and fusion rifles you want to use. So Royal Executioner and I think Cartesian Coordinate are really good for solar builds if you want to go for a solar direction. Cartesian Coordinate shoots a little bit faster, and it might have better handling, so it might have a little bit better overall DPS. But Royal Executioner is craftable, and it's pretty easy to get right now, since you can just go farm a seasonal activity. And then if you're running solar, you're going to want something that has some type of auto-loading and a damage perk. So I have Apex Predator with Reconstruction and Bait and Switch. Reconstruction allows it to have 2 shots at first, and then it'll auto-reload on its own. And then Bait and Switch is also a damage perk on top of that. This is craftable if you farm Last Wish. Hezen Vengeance is also a good option if you're on solar. You can get one with auto-loading in Vorpal or overflow in Vorpal. If you want to go in the arc direction, there's an arc fusion rifle called Iterative Loop that would also work. And then you'd run something like the Hothead with an auto-loading damage perk or something that would give you more in the mag and a damage perk. So that's what your arc setup would look like. So, the whole basis of the build revolves around getting your grenade back, as we've said, and then extra rockets. So with Reconstruction, on my Apex Predator, I get 2 in the mag. And then I'll run through a little example of what the switching looks like. So, you're going to shoot your Wither Horde, and then throw your melee. And then immediately switch to your fusion rifle. Shoot 2 rockets, or however many you have. Throw your Threadling Grenade. Shoot another rocket. And then use your super. And then you'll switch back to Wither Horde, melee, fusion rifle, until you get your grenade back, because dealing damage generates grenade energy. And then we'll shoot a rocket, we'll throw our Threadling Grenade, we'll shoot another rocket, Wither Horde, melee, fusion rifle, until we get our grenade back. And then rocket, and then we'd have our grenade back, and we keep going. So that's a basic idea of what the DPS looks like. So if you want to go on one set of damage and you don't want to swap your loadouts at all, I recommend running Necrotic Grip. There's not a great damage exotic for Strand, so we're just going to run something that increases the damage of our melee that we have. Because we'll get Necrotic Grips allows you to have poison damage on your melees. And then other than that, you just want to run 3 surges of whatever you're using. So if you're running solar or arc, you'll want to run solar or arc surges, so you get as much damage from your weapons as possible. You want to run 2 time dilations so that your surges will last like as long as possible. I put solar reserves on. I put double reserves so I can get as much ammo in my weapons as possible. Hey, this is Editing Calstry, the Calstry that figures out everything that Calstry did wrong in Calstry's video. So, there's actually a mod in the Seasonal Artifact right now that increases the damage that Unravel does, so make sure to put that on as well. And then you're going to want to have a Solar Dexterity on. I don't know if having multiple of these, I mean it does say that multiple can stack, but I'm not sure what the cap is or how they interact with your handling on your weapon. So just run like a solar or an arc dexterity and maybe a loader if you want to. And then impact induction, causing damage with a melee attack reduces your grenade cooldown. So when we're trying to deal damage with our fusion rifle to get our grenade back, our melee will help with that. When we throw our melee in between our Wither Horde and our fusion rifle, our melee will help get our grenade back even faster. And then on my helmet, I just use Kinetic Siphon because I'm using Wither Horde to kill the adds before the damage phase starts. And that's pretty much it. You can run Font of Wisdom so that you also get more intellect during your damage phase while your surges are active, but that's not a big deal, just to try and get your super back. So that's pretty much the basis of the build. Get a fusion rifle that has some type of damage perk, and then even better if you have something that overflows the mag. And then get a rocket that has some type of loader perk and a damage perk. And then run Wither Horde, and then this Strand setup with Necrotic Grips, Surge mods, Time Dilation, and Reserves. And then you just swap weapons like I've been showing. Wither Horde, melee, fusion rifle, rocket, grenade, rocket, Wither Horde, melee, fusion rifle, fusion rifle, fusion rifle until you get your grenade back, rocket, grenade, rocket. Now, if you want to kind of do like an advanced build, there's a way to get a little bit more DPS. Apotheosis Veil. Immediately regenerate health, melee, grenade, and rift energy upon activating your super. Nearby allies also recharge their class abilities faster. The main part of this helmet that we're looking at is the grenade and melee energy. So, you go into your DPS phase with Apotheosis Veil on, and then everything that we just talked about. You have your super, which I don't have right now, so I'll go ahead and get that real quick. Okay, now that we're all set up, we're going to use the Apotheosis Veil and then switch to necrotic grips in the middle of our damage phase. So we do the rotation that we did before, but when we use our super is when we're going to switch to the other loadout. So it's going to be just like before: Wither Horde, melee, fusion rifle, rocket, rocket, grenade, rocket, super, switch to our other loadout, Wither Horde, melee, fusion rifle, rocket, grenade, rocket, Wither Horde, melee, fusion rifle, until we get our grenade back, rocket, grenade, rocket. So that's the idea, because when we activate our super with Apotheosis Veil on, we immediately get our grenade back. So we don't have to spend time shooting 3 fusion rifle shots to get our grenade back after the first one. I know it's a little bit complicated, but if you go back and just watch over that phase that I just showed you, and you repeat it a couple times for yourself, it'll come to you faster than you think. Because I never thought that I would want to do DPS like this, but after practicing it a couple times, it is honestly a lot of fun. So, as long as you use your Threadling Grenade and these fragments with Wither Horde, Fusion Rifle, and a rocket, ideally with damage perks, and then Necrotic Grips with some of the mods that I showed you, especially the Surge mods, just practice these rotations. Wither Horde, melee, fusion rifle, shoot your rocket until you're out, throw your grenade, rocket, use your super, back to Wither Horde, melee, fusion rifle, until you get your grenade back, rocket, grenade, rocket. That's the rotation. Wither Horde, melee, fusion rifle, rocket. So hopefully that helps you and maybe your fire team get past some raid bosses that you might not be able to, or maybe put you at the top of the leaderboard. Thank you so much for watching. I'm trying to be a little bit more consistent with my uploads, so I appreciate the support, and have a good one.